My name is Andy Coules. I'm the front of house engineer for Madness. I've been working for them for over 6 years now. With this band, we've got 10 musicians on stage, which includes bass, drums, guitars, keyboards, some track elements, 4-piece horn section and 5 vocalists. So there's quite a lot going on, which counts for about 45 inputs from the stage, plus extras from videos. We have separate SD racks on the stage for front house and monitors with a passive split. One of the things I like about DiGiCo is that I can scale the desk to my requirements. If I need a smaller desk for festivals, I'll use an SD12, and the same files work across the range. In terms of outboard, the only thing I use is I've got a Rupert Nees 5045, which is a primary source enhancer, but I like to travel quite light. Most of what I need is inside the box, so that's how I like to work.
I'm Chris Wilcock, PA tech, monitor tech and mixing monitors for the Lightning Seeds, who are the support bands on the Madness tour. So I started out working for DiGiCo as a placement student back in 2021 in the R&D department. That is kind of where I learned how these consoles work.
I'm now working for 22 Live full-time, who are the audio rental company for this tour.
We're running 3 sets of mono wedges down the front. That's for the lead singer, guitarist and bass guitar. We're also running 3 sets of stereo IEMs for the drums, saxophone and the keys player. That's a mixture of hardwire IEMs through our line system and stereo transmitters as well. And it's all getting controlled from this DiGiCo Quantum 3, which makes my life nice and easy. I like to use all the layers and banks to my advantage, labeling absolutely everything and putting like instruments in certain places. I really enjoy using the control groups on the desk, especially for monitors. Using the VCA mode is brilliant for making quick changes to people's mixes on the fly.
My name's Timmins. I'm the hire director at 22 Live. For the Madness tour, Steve Martin, who's the tour director, who's worked with Madness for some years now, I've got a long relationship with. So yeah, we've kept in touch, and I think Steve was very interested in 22 Live and what was coming. So when I was in the process of setting the business up, he was keen for us to look at the Madness requirements. One of the things we've done is everything that we've bought into, we've tried to buy into at the front end of its life. So the DiGiCo products, you know, both the 338 and the 225s, obviously that kind of tick that box. And then we built on it from there. So, you know, we've pretty much bought into the whole spectrum of consoles. The 338 ticks a huge amount of boxes. You know, I think it's affordable on some of the tours that maybe, you know, can't afford the 7 and the 5 and from the DiGiCo range, but it offers everything that you need in the market that we're working in, which is, of course, music.
Part of the reason I like to use the Quantum 338 is because it allows me to mix from the middle of the console, so I can have my important channels in the middle, everything else on the left, and the outputs and the control, the matrix, subgroups, etc. on the right. It allows me to kind of mix very intuitively. I like to use macros as well. It's one of the powerful features I find with DiGiCo that you don't tend to get as well on other brands. One of the best features I find about the DiGiCo consoles is the quality of the sound, because that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
For me, I always find that DiGiCo's preamps, especially the 32-bit ones, sounds incredible. They're very clear and pristine, and then also the processing that you can put on top of that on the console can really add some warmth and soul to that sound.
The first day we did in Aberdeen, we had a full sound check. We started running the tracks and had various members of the crew and the management came out front and they were like, wow, it sounds just like the album.
Challenges that I found on this tour are typically consistency, going into different rooms and venues every single day. You get obviously tonal differences in people's mixes. Some features on the DiGiCo make my life a lot easier when I'm going to fix these. The EQs, especially the mustard EQ, sounds brilliant. Small features like optional, making quick changes across complete fader banks is brilliant. If I've found a specific frequency that I don't want in anyone's mix, I can take that out really quickly using that function. I'm also quite a fan of using the DigiTube, specifically on artist mix buses. It's a great way to get some warmth without necessarily increasing the volume too much by adding a bit of drive. It really tightens up the mix, and the artists that I've found have really enjoyed it so far. Other onboard processors that I tend to use when running monitors on this gig is the Spice Rack, which is part of the quantum processing. It works really well for tightening up vocals, and you can use it to dig out a lot of washy and muddy sounds which the artists don't really want to hear in their wedges or through their IM mixes. The support band that I've been working with on this tour, I've been really happy with the sound. We've had some really good results throughout all the venues, and I believe we've been quite consistent in the sound. The band have been really happy, the production on the tour have been really happy with the sound out front as well, so yeah, brilliant.